Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and today I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about Boohoo stock, because I've had a few of you guys starting to pop up in the comment section saying can I just do another video on Boohoo, and I don't know if that's just because a few of you guys are getting a little bit nervous. I don't know if I'm just that reassuring figure that's like, stay calm, buy some more, you'll be okay. I don't know if that's what it is, but I know a lot of you guys have been commenting on the Boohoo videos I've done previously, asking for a little bit more of an update, so I'll do this for you today, guys. I'm not going to cover too much ground that I've talked about previously on the videos, so I won't cover that much. I'm going to be talking about current things that are going on with the stock, and go forward from there. So as always, guys, smash that like button and we'll get stuck into today's video. Like I said, I'm not going to cover too much of the whole Boohoo incident with the factories, but in case you've been living under a rock, basically Boohoo have been alleged, or one of their suppliers apparently has been paying below the minimum wage. Also, the conditions haven't been social distancing. And just to reiterate, this is a supplier, this is not Boohoo the company, separate things. So that's one big thing to take into consideration. But yeah, first of all, let's talk about Boohoo. So when we look at the stock chart, it's right now, as recording this video, I think it's around about 210-ish. Not as bad as a day so far as recording this video, and personally for me, I think that to go below 200 I don't really see happening. That just seems like, you know, the pandemic, it didn't go below 200, so I think that that's a really big support area. If it does, then fair enough, I'll start buying a lot more down there. Right now my averaging price is still 242 at the moment. I don't know if I'll buy any more because I don't really mind being 10% down. I can live with that because when I think about this company, I think that I probably will make over 100% on it. So 10% down isn't that much for me in the long term, so I can live with that. If it goes below 200, I might be tempted to add a little bit in there, but yeah, I don't know how much more I'll buy, but if the price is right, I will do. But yeah, overall, like, I'm not buying just yet, but if the price does go down, I will probably buy a little bit more going forward. So we'll see what happens in that kind of aspect. But we're just looking at the chart, you know, first of all, this story that we're talking about, the stock is down 50%. 50%. Now, I know the stock was quite expensive when it was about 400-ish. I would say that was definitely an overvalued stock at them sort of prices. So it was due a bit of a pullback for sure. But yeah, you know, this story, a supplier to take the whole stock down 50%, that's a huge amount. That is a huge amount. Don't take that lightly. For a stock to lose half its value is an extreme discount. There's not many stocks that will move down 50% off a story about a supplier. So that is something you need to take into consideration, how massive this dip already is in this company. And when we talk about the company itself, you know, we look at the company, it's a massive growth company. And I know people say profit margins are going to get hit with this story because they might have to change supplier, but even if it does hit its profit margins, it's what, going to be 1%, 2%? And we talk about a growth company, a revenue growth company. You know, the profit margins aren't huge on this. We're not talking about a company that is, you know, trying to make 4% earnings this year, 5% earnings growth this year. The earnings aren't that massive on this company. We talk about revenue growth. We want revenue growth. That's what we want with this company. And this company is massively growing, and we don't have many UK companies that grow at this sort of revenue. As well as that, you know, we talk about a company with a clean balance sheet or a very low debt to equity balance sheet. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very strong company. Let's not forget how good this company is. And for it to get this company at half the price it was, we need to consider, you know, how much of a good opportunity this is in general, this company, when we think about this issue has been caused by a supplier and not actually the company itself. So one of the stories is that has taken the stock down a little bit more was because of one of the big shareholders dumping the stock. Now, obviously someone had to have sold for it to go down 50%. You know, it doesn't just fall down 50%. The stock movements happen because someone bought the stock and someone sold the stock. That is the reasons why. So for it to drop 50%, someone has to, you know, sell this stock. And this was one of the companies that are investments that are hedge funds that did sell the stock for it to decline. And I think overall, you know, as long as the media is aggressive to Boohoo, then the stock will kind of not move anywhere. But as soon as the press, you know, stops putting all these stories out, then the stock should start moving up a little bit from there. And this, at the end of the day, with the media, guys, you've always got to remember the media doesn't care about if you make money. It doesn't care about how accurate these reports are. It's all about getting the views in. So it will you've got to see where the truth is in some of these articles as well. So that's always what I say about the media. But one of them was about the Standard Life Aberdeen SLA. They basically was an asset manager and they sold off a lot of shares in this company. But yeah, I mean, asset managers can do what they want. That doesn't affect us, guys. We don't make money off them. They don't make money off us. They don't care what we think and we don't care what they think. It's one of those, you're in charge of your money and you make the decisions to make money. It's a prime example. You look at Warren Buffett. Like, I thought Warren Buffett made a bad decision to sell his airlines at the discount they were on, because I feel like, well, you might as well just hold them now. Rather than sell them down here, you might as well hold the shares because eventually they'll come back as a long-term investor. And then he sold his shares off, which I was like, wow. But Warren Buffett don't care what I think. And, even if I think Warren Buffett's made the wrong decision, we separate investors at the end of the day. And you've got to, make the decision which you think is right and you think you'll make the money off overall. And the other one is the development of the Sunday Times, who were the ones who originally broke the story about Boohoo. So obviously we're going to be talking about the links with the founder's brother. But overall, just in general, I just want to put a little bit more information on this story in general. So the first thing that I want to make really clear is, from the original article, I'm still struggling to find a lot of photo and video evidence of this probe. Like, I saw the one where there was the brand actually in the photo taken in the factory, but I've still not seen any videos come out from here. I haven't seen any photos yet. I've also seen that at the moment the inquiry said that there's been no proof of below minimum wage being paid. I'm pretty sure that the kind of social distancing that was said that they were putting workers at risk, I probably would say that was true. So that's something to be careful of. That I do think that's aware, but I know a lot of industries that are currently not doing the correct social distancing in their sort of industry. And also, one thing that is also to be said, like the Sunday Times as well, they actually reported the wrong company in the wrong in that article. Like, that's something that's not been said too much. Like, when that story broke, they actually reported the wrong company in the article, and it is now getting investigated and is a legal complaint by the original company that was reported. So it just shows you how has there been a probe in a factory and then the media have reported the wrong company. So it just shows you guys, you got to always take a little bit of salt with what the media say here. They can always not report the truth, and I don't understand how you make a probe and then actually report the wrong company. That's something that I would say as well. So what has come out now is that the order was placed with Revolution Clothing, but then Revolution Clothing then outsourced it to a company called Morfray Limited, and this is where the brother connections kind of come in. They say direct links, but it's not. So what has happened is what I said originally in the original videos, is that I think it's been then outsourced to another supplier, and that's what's happened really. I think Boohoo have put 10 million to this investigation. I think there's also been, I think it's 2 suppliers that have been removed and won't be making them for anymore. I guess one of them probably this Morfray Limited that has said never subcontract to them. But the big thing to say once again, guys, this is not Boohoo. This looks like it wasn't even one of their suppliers. It was another supplier. So that's how far we're going now with these connections. And every company, I think that eventually if you go down the connection chain, you'll find something wrong with every other company. So yeah, I mean, Boohoo should be regulating these suppliers a bit more, and I'm sure they'll get a slap on the wrist. But once again, it's a supplier, guys, and you talk about a 50% drop from a supplier problem, and it wasn't even a supplier problem, it was a subcontractor to the actual order, which is insane when we talk about a 50% drop. Now this is where the subcontractor links do come in, and this is what's caused the stock to go down a little bit from here. So basically, Jalal is Mahmood's brother, and he was a co-founder in Boohoo. The only links he has now is does hold a certain percentage of holding in Boohoo. It's something quite small. Off the top of my head, I believe it's something like 0.3% or something like that he holds in Boohoo. But that's his only connection to Boohoo, and that he was original founder. Obviously he's kind of, you know, stepped away from Boohoo in general now. Now Jalal actually had was the director or the owner of I Saw It First, and another director of I Saw It First is Shahzad Irasht, I think that's maybe how you say it, but yeah, he is another director of I Saw It First, and one of his other ownerships is 15 Holdings, and 15 Holdings have a 50% ownership in Morphrey, who is the supplier at the centre of all this, and they're the ones that have been supplying or sub-supplying through another contract to Boohoo. So you can see eventually when we get there that it is the brother actually don't really have a certain direct link to Morphrey. You know, basically it's, you know, the brother's owner of Boohoo, who is a director of a company called I Saw It First, who another director is the owner of another company, who then owns a 50% stake in the company that's in the spotlight at the moment. So it's a long process till we actually get to where the direct link is. So this word direct, I'm not sure how much we could call it a direct link, because, you know, we're going through so many, like, they know so and so, and his dog told his cat, and like it's such a long-winded process to get to the point of where the drop was. And once again, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, the only way that Boohoo is going to get in a certain problem here is if some sort of communication comes out from the CEO of Boohoo that says, can you supply us our clothes? It's okay if you pay them below a minimum wage. And they directly knew that they were getting underpaid, and it were getting the contractors are getting contracted out to another supplier. Like, that is the only way that this is going to cause a major problem for Boohoo. That's when I'm like, oh yeah, the stock should probably have dropped 50%. That's when I'm okay with it. Everything else, I'm just like, oh my days, this is just so stupid and just so blown out of proportion overall. So overall, guys, those are my opinions on Boohoo, and like I say, I mean, the direct links with the brother, it's a long-winded process till we actually get to the direct link. How much is the media just doing it for the views and, you know, reporting incorrect information out there? And like, I mean, from this sort of story, I understand why the stock dropped, and I understand, you know, the supply chain issues, but it's not a major thing. I'd say the biggest thing is getting dropped from ASOS and Amazon, and, you know, that makes up about, I think it's about 8% of the revenue. But even then, like, that's probably the biggest thing about all this, is losing them as partners. And I think they will come back at some point, but I think that's the big thing. And overall, like, does this justify a 50% drop in this company? And I don't think it does. And, you know, you look into this company and you think about the growth, the discount it's on, and if you don't get caught in short term, like when the stock goes down 10%, you know, be able to handle that volatility. If you can't handle the volatility in a company like that, and, you know, just put your money into an index fund. You know, that's the best thing for you to do. But, you know, handle the volatility. And when you look at the growth of this company and the balance sheet, you know, not many UK companies are out there for us to invest in with this potential. And you just think, you know, where's this company going to be in 2 to 5 years? And if you think that it's going to be at the current prices it's at or even lower, then don't invest in the company. I mean, I look at this company and I think that in even 2 years' time, this is an easy 100% return. And then in 5 years' time, I think we're talking about a company that will return probably over 200%. And that's why this is the sort of company that I invest in. You know, I buy when other people are fearful, and that's when you get the best returns. You know, when you buy in that big massive COVID-19 dip, I'm sure if you did buy stocks there, you've seen them big massive returns. You bought when all that fear was out there. And same again, there's all this fear around Boohoo, but this is when I love to buy, and this is where I like to get my, you know, the big gains from, where I go and make 100, 200% in the stock. This is when I do it. And for me, what's the panic about? This is easy money in my opinion, and this company is going to do fantastic over 2 to 5 years. So that's the video today, talk about Boohoo, guys. I hope I relaxed a few of you guys that were getting a little bit nervous in that comment section. And as always, if you can like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.